Hi friends, and welcome back to day 5 of Tingmas, where I watch 5 new release Netflix movies and a TV show and tell you my thoughts and feelings on them. So today is actually my 5th and final review of my most anticipated Christmas movie, Single All the Way, which came out on Netflix. So I'm super excited to go into this review and tell you more about it. Oh, and you can also, if you're interested in checking out the reviews for the other 4 movies, or excuse me, for the other 3 movies and a TV show that I did, you can check that out in the Tingmas playlist. So the general premise of Single All the Way is that we have 2 best friends, Peter and Nick, who initially plan on pretending to be fake boyfriends when they go visit Peter's hometown in New Hampshire and spend the holidays with Peter's family. However, Peter's mom surprises them and ends up setting up Peter on a blind date.
Like from Grindr?
Oh my god.
As an early Christmas gift. So I have to talk about the cast because they had a really fantastic lineup here. First, we have Michael Urie, who plays Peter in the movie. I'm sure most of you probably know him best from Ugly Betty, which is super exciting for me to see because his character, Mark St. James, is one of the first openly gay characters that I remember seeing on mainstream television. So I was super excited to see him in this movie. And then we have Philemon Chambers, who is actually this is his breakthrough role, so excited to see a new fresh face on the scene. And then we have the super iconic Kathy Najimy, who I'm sure most of you know from Hocus Pocus and Sister Act. So we of course know she's super funny. So she plays Peter's mom, slash she insists on being called Christmas Carol in this movie.
How did I not know your mom had a holiday specific drag name?
Which is funny. And then we have Barry Bostwick, who plays Harold, who is Peter's dad. His face looked familiar, but I was I don't know where he's from, but he was actually in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is really cool. And then Luke McFarlane, who plays James, who is the blind date that Peter gets set up on. So he was actually in many Hallmark Christmas movies. So this is his type of rodeo. And then we have Jennifer Robertson, and many of you probably recognize her as Jocelyn from Schitt's Creek if you watched that. It was kind of jarring to see her not with her Jocelyn hair, which is pretty funny. But she plays Lisa, who is one of Peter's sisters. And then we also have the amazing, always iconic Jennifer Coolidge, who plays Aunt Sandy, and who is Peter's aunt. So I'm first gonna actually go into what I didn't like about the movie because the list is super short, so I figured I'd just get that out of the way. The only 2 things I really didn't like about the movie is one, I didn't love the fact that Peter's family was super obsessed with him being single.
And every year I have this problem they all have to solve because I'm always the single one.
And trying to get him into a relationship, and even though he does express that he does want to be in a relationship and unfortunately just hasn't had the best in dating, the fact that they make him feel so self-conscious about going to visit them during the holidays single, to the point where he's asking Nick to play his fake boyfriend at the beginning is just I don't like that. It's kind of toxic, and it's just a friendly reminder that it is okay to be single at any time, and especially during the holidays, it's fine. So I didn't love that. And then also I get that this movie takes place in a small town in New Hampshire, and Peter's white, and so most of his family is white, but it was still kind of rom-coms unfortunately are very still dominated by mostly white actors and white stories. So the fact that Nick was the only BIPOC person in this movie, and that and I think not just even that, he was the only non-white person in the movie, so I didn't super love that aspect of it. Even though, I said, the cast is amazing, but I just wish there was more casual diversity that could have been incorporated into the movie. So next I'm going to go into the many, many, many things that I loved about this movie. So the first thing I loved about this movie was the fact that it was literally just queer people in a Christmas romantic comedy, and there was no homophobia and or a tragic coming out story at all in here. It was so refreshing. This was the movie that I hoped Happiest Season, which came out a few years ago, starting Kristen Stewart, and it was supposed to it was a huge deal because it was the first major lesbian Christmas film that was coming out, and whew, it was not fun. I do not recommend it. I haven't watched this, but I really should. I hear that if you are looking for a good lesbian Christmas movie, you should check out Carol instead. You know, back to that, it was really nice. Now, I did read some reviews where people were like, it's like a bit formulaic, but I'm like, I feel like that's kind of the point. The fact that we have a, you know, like I said, like a, you know, just a regular Christmas rom-com, but it just has queer people in it and centers queer people. So I feel like that was kind of the point. So like that really didn't bother me at all. And also I felt like this movie did a really good job of also rooting itself in a lot of reality. One of the super toxic tropes that I hate seeing like often in romantic comedies, like it's not that I hate it completely, because like I watched most of the other rom-coms that I watched for this series did have that in it, but like I really don't love when most of the plot centers around a character or characters like being like completely dishonest and like just outright deceptive to cause like drama in the movie. I feel like it's toxic and like kind of overdone in a lot of cases. So I was really happy that this was actually not the case in this movie. So like while we're initially like you're meant to believe like, oh, you know, they're gonna be fake dating, that pretty much like that plot goes like pretty much out the window once they get to New Hampshire, because again, Peter's mom has set him up on a blind date, so we don't have to go through that. So we have James, who is the blind date that Peter gets set up with, and they just have like nice like regular dates together. There's just not a whole lot of drama within it, and honestly like the whole dynamic between like Nick, Peter, and James was actually like, quite mature. Like I was genuinely surprised that we didn't have like some super dramatic fight happen over again, usually something like a deception or like someone not telling the truth. And it was just like I was just surprised. Like it was very refreshing. Like all of them handled the romantic conflicts throughout the movie, in my opinion, quite maturely, and I thought that was really nice to see, especially in a, you know, the romantic comedy genre where that doesn't tend to be the case. You know, another further example of that is I really love the fact that Nick and James were both posited as very good, viable options for Peter. So, like, you know, it was nice. Like, Peter could, like, it really was just a matter of, like, whether, you know, who Peter liked more, to be honest. But, like, I like the fact that Nick and James were not directly pitted against each other throughout the entire movie, so that was really nice to see too. So like actually like most of the drama in this movie is really just like Peter's family acting like a bunch of fangirls trying to make their ship happen.
My date with James went well.
Oh, I'm so happy. That is so great.
I always thought that you and Peter should be together.
People who look at each other like that are not just friends.
So, like, that was pretty funny. And, like, speaking of Peter's family, I loved the family dynamic throughout this whole film. Like, Peter's family is extremely loving, extremely supportive, and, like, a little chaotic. Or really a lot chaotic. But I feel like that made for, like, the perfect recipe in this movie. They have, like, this Christmas pageant that they're trying to prepare for, which is run by the former actress Aunt Sandy, who's like such a diva about the whole thing and wants everything to be perfect, and like but like, you know, in that way where she's like it's just like she practically almost turns it into like a one-woman show, but like with some convincing and a little bit of help, like the Christmas pageant like goes great. It's just like, you know, it's Jennifer Coolidge.
For some reason, you're always obsessed with me.
Like, she's just so funny. So, like, she really takes that, like, role super far. And she's just being her fabulous self. And that was great. I loved seeing that. And another thing that I really liked, too, that they did is that they did a really good job of, like, calling out, like, kind of, like, different stereotypes. So, like, this is where, like, Peter's mom's character, Christmas Carol, I really appreciated with her is that, like, you can tell, like, she doesn't, like, completely understand, but again, she's, like, super supportive. She tries to, like, do her own research. So, like, throughout the movie, she's, like, always referencing this, like, book that she read. And so, you know, so because it was her idea to get Peter set up on the blind date, and, like, the family's kind of like, wait, but, like, we're all Team Nick. She's like, guys, just because they're best friends and they're both gay doesn't mean that they have to be together. And, like, I thought that was great, because, like, really, like, straight people, just because, you know, more than one gay person doesn't mean that they want to be together or should be together. So please don't do that. So, like, again, most of the drama was mostly, like, Peter's family, like, trying to meddle into his love life, but you know, we still have your, like, typical Christmas stresses that you have, like, arguing over Christmas decorations, like, you know, the stress of like being, you know, especially if you like live far away from your family and really, you know, the few times a year you can see them is during the holidays. So like stressing over like how much time you're spending with them, especially since like Peter initially planned to like spend the whole time with his family, but like now he goes, you know, he got set up with James and like their date went well, so he keeps going on more dates with him. So he's like feeling like, oh man, I'm like missing out on things. So that, you know, definitely like a realistic like struggle there. And then like in terms of just like vibes, you definitely have like the cute like cozy Christmas ski town, cozy winter vibes there. The Christmas puns in this movie were abundant and funny. When they first show, well, like when Peter and Nick first drive in to Peter's parents' driveway, his mom is standing outside holding a sign that says Slay Queen, but like slay as in like what you ride. Like right in. And there's like another line too where like Nick is like trying to get like Peter to wake up for his like first date with James, and he's like on that gay apparel. Like, it was so funny, but yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. So I felt that the ending of the movie was like a little idealistic, but definitely not so crazy that like it couldn't be realistic. So I really like that too. Again, I feel like that just kind of really helped with one thing that just really helped me enjoy this movie a lot, is that I wasn't watching this and constantly thinking like, this would never happen in real life, or like, this is completely ridiculous, why would you do that? So I thought that was like really nice and refreshing to see as well. So my final thoughts on this movie: I definitely recommend, I highly recommend, if you're looking for an actually good queer Christmas rom-com, or just like a good Christmas rom-com in general. Like, the vibes here were like just like super heartwarming, very loving, like just very positive vibes. It's cozy, like it's really, I really highly recommend it if you're just looking for like a nice feel-good Christmas movie, or feel-good movie in general. You don't have to watch this during Christmas only. So definitely please check it out. And my final rating on this movie was 4.75 out of 5 stars. And the only reason why I knocked off that 0.25 was, again, I don't super love the fact that Peter's family was so like didn't seem like super okay with him like being single, and like really push for him to be in a relationship. Like, I thought that was a bit toxic, and I didn't really like that. But otherwise, like, fantastic movie, like, all around. If there is any movie that you're going to watch out of this whole Tingmas series, please watch this movie at least. So I hope you found this review helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from me, you can hit that subscribe button. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Bye!